Imagine waking up and you are just completely drained of energy. Like you look in the mirror and your eyes are persistently bloodshot, and there is this mysterious black film actually forming over your teeth.
Yeah, I mean, you would think you were in a horror movie or something.
Exactly. But for our listener, Edie, this was just everyday life at the peak of her illness. And Edie, you lived this. Today, we are acting as your guides to basically reflect your own incredible journey and research back to you.
Right, pulling out those exact aha moments that can really help anyone feeling, overwhelmed by their own health struggles.
Yeah, because today's exploration is all about your massive, deeply personal, 454-page book, The Memory of Health, My Journey to Mindful Living and Conscious Consumerism.
It is such a dense, amazing resource.
It really is. And our mission is to distill this document to its vital nuggets. We are covering the terrifying realities of chronic illnesses like ME/CFS and fibromyalgia, the hidden environmental toxins overloading our systems, and the scientifically backed methods used to reclaim vitality.
And, to set the right tone for this, I think we need to shift our visual backdrop a bit.
Okay, I like that. Where are we going?
Well, we're moving away from the stark, sterile imagery of, a medical clinic, and we are stepping into a lush, thriving alpine forest. It really mirrors the journey in the text from chronic illness back to vibrant, dynamic well-being.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it. Because when you read the text, the descent into illness isn't this sudden cliff, right? It's more of a cascade.
It's totally a cascade, a slow build-up.
Yeah. Edie, you describe a ski accident at Snowbird at age 22. And to manage the torn ligaments, there was this heavy use of NSAIDs like ibuprofen.
Which is pretty standard, but it has consequences.
Right, eventually causing severe depression and a leaky gut. But then comes the tipping point. Domestic trauma combined with moving into a newly renovated, highly toxic condo.
Oh yeah, the condo.
We're talking fresh paint, new carpet, and a custom chair that was heavily coated in PBDE fire retardants.
It's just a massive chemical load all at once.
Okay, let's unpack this. It feels like the body was being attacked from every possible angle, physically, emotionally, chemically. If our bodies are ships, are these overlapping stressors essentially just poking holes in the hull faster than the liver can bail the water out?
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here is the biological mechanism driving this collapse. In the text, it's called limbic kindling.
Limbic kindling. How does that work?
So think of your nervous system like a home security alarm. Limbic kindling means a burglar. Maybe the ski accident or the trauma once broke a window.
Okay.
Now, the alarm is so hypersensitized and glitchy that it triggers a SWAT team every time the wind blows.
Wow, just completely overreacting.
Exactly. The amygdala, which is the brain's alarm center, just gets stuck on high alert. So the body exhausts all its resources just responding to false alarms.
Which would explain why those bizarre physical symptoms start manifesting, right? Like the zero energy or the black film on the teeth.
Yep, the body is just depleted.
So if the alarm system is short-circuiting from all these external stressors, like what actually breaks down inside the machinery? I mean, we have to look down into the engine room, so to speak.
We do. And the text points heavily to the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis.
Right, the system that manages cortisol.
Exactly, our primary stress hormone. When it's constantly triggered by those false alarms, it can actually downregulate. You end up with hypocortisolism.
Meaning too little cortisol.
Yeah. And without enough cortisol to act as a brake, chronic inflammation just runs wild. But the real crisis, like the absolute core of it, happens in the gut.
The text calls it the second brain, right?
Yes, because it houses about 70% of our immune system and produces roughly 90% of our serotonin.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
If 90% of our serotonin is produced in our digestive tract, are we treating anxiety, depression, and fatigue in the completely wrong half of the body? Like, should we be looking at our stomachs instead of our heads?
Honestly, yes. It's a massive blind spot in traditional medicine. And it gets even more complicated when you add genetic vulnerabilities into the mix.
Like the MTHFR mutation mentioned in the book.
Right. So think of the methylation cycle as your body's trash collection service. When you have this MTHFR mutation, the garbage trucks are basically running on flat tires.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's terrible. Toxins pile up because you struggled to produce glutathione, which is essentially your body's master antioxidant. It's the lead sanitation worker trying to clear out the mess, and it's just not there.
So when the gut is inflamed and the trash is piling up, what does the immune system do?
It panics. It undergoes what's called a Th1 to Th2 immune shift. Instead of fighting viruses inside the cells, it overreacts to toxins outside the cells.
Which causes a massive amount of oxidative stress.
Exactly. It leads to a complete mitochondrial meltdown. Your damaged mitochondria switch from burning fuel cleanly, aerobically, to a highly inefficient anaerobic mode.
And that anaerobic mode produces a ton of lactic acid, which explains the severe crushing pain associated with ME/CFS and fibromyalgia. It's essentially a systemic acid bath.
The body is effectively drowning in its own metabolic waste. The cellular engines are just broken.
Man. And if the internal machinery is malfunctioning because of toxins, like a PBDE fire retardant on a custom chair, we have to zoom out and look at the macro environment supplying those toxins.
We really do.
The text documents that we're living in a world with over 100,000 synthetic chemicals. It points to things like the toxic WTC cough from 9/11 dust, the Mossville chemical plant exposures, fracking chemicals from the documentary Gasland.
And genetic splicing of GMOs, like bleak corn acting as a registered insecticide.
Right. Plus, everyday cosmetics containing endocrine disruptors like triclosan, BPA, phthalates, and, I should pause here and enforce a quick rule for us.
Oh, right, the impartiality rule.
Yes. Just to be completely clear to our listeners, we are neutrally reporting the claims made in the source material regarding these chemical corporations, fracking, and agribusinesses.
Exactly. We are not taking a political stance or endorsing these viewpoints at all. We are merely conveying the factual contents of Edie's provided text.
Thank you. But honestly, reading this material, here's where it gets really interesting. If babies are being born with up to 300 industrial chemicals already in their blood, and even our clothes and cosmetics are attacking us, isn't it impossible to win?
It does sound bleak.
Like, how do we not just surrender to the toxicity?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the environmental load is heavy, sure, but the human body is not defenseless. The counterweight to all of this is epigenetics.
Epigenetics, the idea that lifestyle can change gene expression.
Right. The old saying is genetics load the gun, but environment pulls the trigger. Your diet, your habits, even your mindset can actually turn certain gene expressions on or off, actively protecting your telomeres from unraveling.
Oh, wow. Which naturally brings us to the climax of all this, the exact actionable holistic methods used to override this toxic world.
The fun part. Reclaiming vitality?
Yes. Healing the mind, body, and spirit. The text leans heavily into physical interventions, like deep nutrition, specifically Hawaiian spirulina, orgain shakes, apple cider vinegar, and alkaline green foods.
And avoiding refined sugars and excitotoxins, obviously.
Right. And based on what we just said about the mitochondria, the alkaline foods make perfect sense. If damaged cells are pumping out lactic acid, alkaline foods literally neutralize that acid bath.
Precisely. But you can't just fix the physical. You have to soothe the body neurologically, too. The text highlights Herbert Benson's relaxation response.
How does that work in practice?
Through deep, rhythmic breathing, you physically stimulate the vagus nerve. That releases acetylcholine, which tells the nervous system to rest and digest.
It tells the alarm system that the burglar is finally gone.
Exactly. And
Yep.
psychologically, this aligns with Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow, finding that deep engagement in the present moment.
So what does this all mean? Edie, it's like your brain is a piece of software. The text uses this analogy of superflex versus rock brain.
I love that concept.
Right. If you have a rock brain, you crash when the system gets overloaded. But neuroplasticity allows you to become a superflex. You literally write new code to bypass the corrupted hard drive of trauma and chronic stress.
Because healing is all about synergy and coherence. You mentioned trauma, and the text brings up Peter A. Levine's description of trauma as a freeze response.
Right. The body literally gets stuck.
Yeah. So to unfreeze, you have to practice mindfulness, re-engage with nature, and find your own unique signature note of energy.
It really is an incredible journey. From the absolute depths of body burden, leaky gut, and a down-regulated HPA axis, to this empowering realization that we have the tools to fight back.
We really do.
Through epigenetics, vagus nerve stimulation, and deep nutrition, the body's natural memory of health can actually be restored. Edie, the sheer resilience and warrior energy it took to compile this research and survive the journey is just astounding.
It's incredibly inspiring.
It is. The ultimate mantra of this text really holds up that presence is power.
You know, before we wrap up, Edie, your text mentions one really staggering statistic that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, what's that?
It says that 140 times more of our genes come from microbes than from our own human cells.
Wait, really? 140 times?
Yeah. It makes you wonder, when we practice holistic health and heal our bodies, are we actually healing ourselves as individuals?
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. Or are we, in fact, just walking, talking ecosystems, and healing is simply the act of bringing a tiny piece of the Earth back into perfect harmonic balance?